Hello, church family. It's 2 Minute Tuesday. As I mentioned last week, in our 2 Minute Tuesdays this fall, we'll focus on the subject of work and rest. Now, this past Sunday, we had our first youth group meeting, and at the end of our time together, we all gathered for a time of prayer and sharing. And typically, when we do this, everybody around the circle shares one item that they're excited about for the coming week, as well as one thing that they're burdened by or worried about. And this week, not one but two of our students said, I'm feeling burdened about the start of school, and I'm excited about the end of school. Now, we didn't need to point out that they had just completed the first week of the whole school year, and I didn't have the heart to point out that as middle schoolers, they had a certain amount of school left ahead of them, even at the end of this school year. I also didn't have the heart to point out that when you're done school, that's when the work really starts. And I didn't say all this because, of course, I identified with the way that they're feeling, and maybe you felt this too. We sometimes have this sinking feeling that the work is never going to end. It's never going to go away. Now, when God first created the human race, he said this, he gave this command. He said, "Be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it, rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, and over every living creature that moves on the ground." In this command, God was giving us our first job description. And from this, we understand that actually we were created for work. But when we read this job description, we right away have questions. We have some issues, and it mainly has to do with this language of ruling and subduing. To us, that sounds oppressive. It sounds like conflict and overconsumption and abuse. And that leads us to think, well, see, this is the problem with work. It was a flawed concept from the very beginning. This isn't the case. And here's what we need to keep in mind. Two things. First, God created us to rule and subdue the way God does, and God created us to do work in partnership with God. Old Testament scholar Walter Brueggemann says this. He says, "The image of God in the human person is a mandate of power and responsibility, but it is power exercised as God exercises power. The task of dominion does not have to do with exploitation and abuse. It has to do with securing the well-being of every other creature and bringing the promise of each to full fruition. The human person is ordained over the remainder of creation for its profit, well-being, and enhancement. The role of the human person is to see to it that the creation becomes fully the creation willed by God." So God wants for all of creation to be what he created it to be in the very beginning, and intends for every creature to flourish fully. And God created us to be his partners in making that happen. And so when we're at our best, our work is really this amazing partnership with the Creator in which we give our best to the creation and get to enjoy creation at its best. We were made for work, and that's what work is. So this week, try not to see your work as a necessary evil or a form of punishment, something just to be endured until it's finally over. See it for what it was meant to be in the beginning. That is, participating with the Creator to bring in every task just a little bit of order and structure and beauty to creation so that creation can be its very best.